Hello and welcome to the Parent Academy channel. My name is Ritika Subhash. I am the founder of the Parent Academy and the host of the Parenting Truth in Dare podcast. Today we are talking about a concept of spirituality and the spiritual milestones of our children. So when we go to a doctor, a pediatrician, they are very well equipped to tell us about the various child developmental milestones, especially the physical child developmental milestones. Also from a brain's perspective, when you go to a pediatrician, at least from the physical brain perspective, they tell you what is the circumference of the head and is it growing in the in the proper manner, at the proper pace. And of course, you also see various changes happening in your child and the way that they think. But can we define how are they progressing on a spiritual journey? And how does their life progress? And how can we as parents support them in their optimal spiritual development is something that I wanted to unpack in this video. So a lot of what I'm going to talk about has come through the Steiner-Waldorf philosophy of raising children, of educating children, and how can we align our support and education for our children based on these spiritual milestones. So essentially, I'm going to talk about 4 milestones and 4 phases that are experienced by our children, and these phases happen in 7-year duration. So every duration typically lasts for about 7 years. This number 7 is also very powerful in the unpacking of this whole spiritual journey according to the Steiner-Waldorf philosophy. So the first stage is the development of the physical body, of course. The second stage, which I'm going to talk about, is the development of the etheric body. The third stage is the development of the astral body. And the last is that of the ego body. So once you understand this, once I talk about this, you will probably be able to relate to this, and reflect upon your own child's journey and see how best you can help them. So at birth, when a child is born, essentially their physical body comes into shape, right? In the first year, they are figuring out how to walk. So 0 to 1 is all about figuring out their bodily movements and, the ability to go from one space to the other, which is walking. So they start with crawling and then up to walking. Ages 1 to 2 is the time that they begin to develop the faculty to talk. So while they may be mumbling things in their first year, in the second year they try to form more coherent sentences and they are able to communicate through certain words. So that is their ability to talk. In the third year, which is 2 to 3, that age is when they develop this spirit of thinking. So you will see that the child starts expressing themselves a lot more. They are able to do some amount of, thought through work. And it's just something that you see that they are becoming, the term that we use commonly in households is, oh, they are getting so smart. So 0 to 3 essentially is, of course, a very, very important time. It really forms the foundation of the child's physical as well as thinking faculties and, speaking faculties, all of that. So this is the time when we need to give them a very good, safe, secure environment to be able to thrive. They should not be in any kind of physical danger also. And this is the time that most of the parents and extended family take extra care to ensure that there is a lot of safety in and around the house. So up until the age of 7 years, essentially what the Steiner-Waldorf philosophy says is that the child feels spiritual oneness to things. So for example, if I have a friend and they bring their child, and I have somebody who is a house help and she brings her child, our own children will not feel any difference between these two people because they are spiritually connected. They understand that is another human being, that's another young person, and they want to interact with that child. So there is no biases at that point, unless those biases come from us, the adults or the family. So unless that is there and we color their opinions, children feel a lot of spiritual oneness to things. So this is the time up until age 7 where we should really, really encourage children to be in nature, to connect with the outdoors, life in general, animals. A lot of exposure to the natural world up until age 7 gives them, even more spiritual oneness, and they understand that they are part of this larger ecosystem, and they are also responsible to keep this ecosystem well and alive. So this is where we talk about the development of the physical body. The next is the development of etheric body. This is the next spiritual milestone. Again, it starts from the age 7, and from 7 to 14 is this period where they are building their own likes and dislikes. This is the time when they are going out of their houses. They're stepping out of their houses, out of the comfort zone, and going into schools. This is also the time that they are losing their milk teeth, right? So there is this whole giving up of what is old and then bringing the new, the stronger teeth and the stronger body alive. So that's your etheric phase, and children will face a lot of push and pull in terms of peer pressure, in terms of adjusting with others, going out of the comfort of their homes into the with other caregivers at school and things like that. So this is the etheric body development, and the way that we can really encourage good development in this age is if we help them express their emotions. Now, this is something which is quite contentious. There are some people who believe, what is there to express? Why should we talk about emotions and things like that? So think of emotions as essentially algorithms, right? They are just algorithms that help you function, process what is going on internally, and then act in the real world. These algorithms are very important because unless they have the right mindset or mind frame, they may end up making very poor decisions later in life. As you're aware that any decision that we take, whether it's a financial decision, whether it is a relationship decision, our decision making is, majority of it is actually emotionally driven, and only a very small part of it is thought through with critical thinking. I'm not saying that critical thinking is not important, but when it comes to the point of taking decisions, we take most of our decisions emotionally. So you want that emotional thermostat to be set in the right format, and this is where talking about feelings and emotions with children, especially in this age of etheric body development, the age of 7 to 14, is very important, and that helps you form a good bond with your child as well. So don't miss out on this period to build a strong bond, which is going to reap you a lot of benefits when the child is then progressing into the proper teens and adolescent age, right? So this is the development of the etheric body. The next phase that comes is again a 7-year phase. It is from the age of 14 to 21 roughly. Some say it starts earlier by 12 and it ends by 24. Some think of it from that perspective, largely because our frontal lobe, our decision-making capability, they get fully developed by the age of 24. So whether you call it from 12 to 24 or you say 14 to 21, it's roughly the same thing. And essentially what happens in this age is that, of course, children are hitting puberty, a lot of physical changes are happening, there's a lot of brain changes that are happening because a lot of information is getting solidified, and also unwanted information is getting pruned from their brains. So there is a process called myelination, which I've covered in some previous episodes, and I'll be covering them later as well, where a lot of the knowledge that your children are picking up in their teenage years, it needs a lot of rest to be solidified. So one thing is, teenagers need a lot of sleep, and sometimes parents are not able to understand that. They feel that they are getting lazy. But this is the age when teenagers really, really need a lot of sleep because of the myelination that is going on in the brain and the consolidation of knowledge that is later going to help them. So I think at this point, understanding their needs, understanding also their desire to take risk. This age of 14 to 21 is essentially characterized by a lot of willingness of children or adolescents to be taking risk. This is part of the nature of this age. So understanding that as parents is also very important, because you can then help set some boundaries or help set some parameters within which they can take certain risks. And so that is the development of the astral body, where children are really going out, doing project works, doing a lot of collaborative work, and we need to support them in doing that rather than making them feel isolated. So the important thing is don't make them feel that everything has to be done by them and that they need to compete and they need to beat everyone else. This is the time when, as parents, you should encourage a lot of collaboration so that they see value in others and they are able to work together in larger teams. Lastly, at age 21, or as some say 24, this is the birth of the ego body. Now, by ego body, I mean that the person has fully come into their own, they have realized their potential, and they know how they are adding value to the world using their own potential. So, at age 21, it is our job as parents to take a step back, to be available when we are required, but not to be intimately involved in the lives of our children. This is the time when we really tell them to take off with the wings that we have nurtured, or they have, also nurtured in the last 21 years. And they are there to take their unique gift out in the world. So that's the development of the ego body, where the full person, the I, the entire ego of that person comes into fully into being. And that's the time where, like I said, your availability is more important than your involvement as parents. So these are the 4 spiritual milestones as I have learned through the Steiner world of philosophy: the physical body, the etheric body, the astral body, and the physical body. And I felt that this needed a little more explanation in terms of what each of these means and how we can support our children through this spiritual growth. And I hope you found value, and please leave your comments and let us know what you thought of this, and if you align with this, or even if you don't, it'll be good to hear your thoughts. Have a great day and see you in the next video.